Hi there! Today's video is about the importance of healing your inner child. If you're curious about why you should heal your inner child as well as some things that you can do to make your inner child feel better right now, watch this video until the end where I will share with you the importance of healing the inner child and 7 things that you can start doing right now. If you have never been here before, I welcome you. Just so you know, in this channel, I talk about taking the journey inside of you so you can fall madly in love with yourself. Once you can love yourself unconditionally, you can love others unconditionally. So ultimately, the work that you take inside for yourself is also helpful for other people. If you've been here before, welcome. And before we get started, hey, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can get notified of all the new contents. Well, let's get this started. See you! Hi there, Rose here, the Happiness Warrior. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about why it's important to heal the inner child. Well, think about it this way. If you have a child that's defenseless and they have a deep wound, would you just leave them there by themselves? Because remember, this child is vulnerable and they don't know what to do. They're relying on someone else to provide for them, to care for them, to protect them. If you leave the child and you don't treat the child is going to sit there and the wound is going to sit there and it's only going to get worse over time. It is the same thing with emotional wounds and psychological wounds. You understand? Second of all, if you do not heal your inner child, chances are that you are dealing with the repercussions of it. You know, whether in your personal relationships with your friends, with family, or in at work, or even with yourself. Because if you have things from your past that you have not healed from, I guarantee you they're coming back to haunt you one way or another. Another thing is, if you do not heal your inner child, if you don't take anything out of this, you are a magnet for people who don't have the best intention for you, people who have misguided intention. And one thing that has happened to me, and I don't want to happen to anyone, I dated a narcissistic person with narcissistic traits, because my inner child was screaming for help and I didn't know. I thought I had done most of the healing, but there was a crack, and that's what he exploited. And this is like something that I have a lot to talk about. We may have to make a story time out of this. You're going to be a magnet for people like narcissistic, because narcissistic are just interested in exploiting you. Everything is all about them. You're going to be a magnet for sociopath and psychopath. You're going to be a magnet for people who just want to use you. They're going to exploit that crack. So you have to take care of it, because no one took care of it. No one helped you when you were young. People abused of you. But guess what? If you're going to sit around waiting for someone to come save you, no one is going to come save you. So you have to take the journey to save yourself. If this is a difficult process for you and you need to hire a professional, I tell you, give yourself permission to hire a professional. If you need to hire a therapist, then do so. Don't worry about what other people are going to think about you, because at the end of the day, this is your health and you need to take charge of your healing. Don't care about what other people say, because you have to deal with yourself. You have to live with yourself. You're the only person dealing with these traumas. Do you understand? If you feel that you need support, get support and do it yourself, or get support. But either way, you're doing it yourself. Like no one is going to come and save you. The therapist, the psychologist, the counselor, the life coach, your friends, no one is going to come save you. So at the end of the day, you have to do the work. At the end of the day, you have to do something. You cannot sit around and think that people are going to come do it for you. I've noticed this attitude with people, with doctors or with people who go and seek for help. There's this attitude of, okay, I'm here, fix me. Like, tell me what to do, fix me. Like, people are not there to do the work for you. People are just there to provide you with tips, suggestion, and guidance. You have to do the work. Ultimately, you have to be the person who wants to save yourself so bad. You have to want it more than your therapist. Your therapist cannot want your healing more than you want your healing. So ultimately, you are in control. Ultimately, you need to want it more than anyone else, right? So now that I've made that clear, and it seems like I'm yelling at you, which I'm not. There are 7 things you can start doing right now. Now, some of these techniques, I've used them, and then I didn't know the fancy term for it. So I will tell you what they are. You can go read more into this subject. So let's get into it. Number 1, tell her or tell him, I love you. If you grew up like me, you've never heard this from your parents or from any family members. No one has ever told you, I love you. Also, in my culture, at least back in the days, parents weren't saying that, so it's not like I was expecting that, and I didn't see my friends' parents say that to them either, but I knew that their parents loved them because of the actions, because of how I felt when I was around them, and because what I saw when I was around them. So I didn't need to hear their parents say, I love you. I knew their parents loved them. So number 1 was love yourself. So how do you do that? You tell you, the young version of you, I love you, and you look deep down inside. And so in my case, when I do it, I hug myself. I hug myself because I didn't really get hugs. There wasn't really a lot of physical contact. There wasn't nurturing conversation, right? And so a lot of the things I have to do for myself, whether it's pat myself in the back and say it's okay, or hug myself and I say I love you. So tell yourself you love you. Tell the young version of yourself that you love you, because growing up, your parents or whoever raised you probably wanted you to do certain things so that you can buy their love. Their love was very conditional. Is it good grades that you got? Is it, who knows what they wanted from you, but it wasn't conditional, and you felt like you needed to be accepted. So it was very conditional love. So you turn inward to that inner child and you tell your inner child, I love you. I love you no matter what. I love you unconditionally. Number 2, tell yourself, I hear you. Because maybe growing up, and if you were like me, like I say, or it could be any other situation. It doesn't have to be, people think that trauma has to be something grandiose, something dramatic. It's not always something dramatic. It could be something like separation of parents. It could be something like just abandonment. Anything that's less than nurturing is considered trauma. You have big trauma. I think they call it trauma with big T. Honestly, don't quote me on this, but you have big trauma, you have small T trauma, but there's still trauma, right? No matter how small it is. So trauma in essence is anything less than nurturing. So number 2, tell your inner self, I hear you. Meaning that the pain that you have to stuff and not deal with, that you have to run from, it's okay. So tell her or tell him, I hear you. We're gonna get through this together, so that you don't have to struggle and run away from uncomfortable feelings like pain. Hurt is one of those feelings that if you've never learned to deal with, you kind of you feel ashamed and you kind of want to hide it from the rest of the world. Just tell your inner child, it's all right. We got this. We can figure it out together. Number 3, tell yourself, you did not deserve this. You didn't deserve it. And you really didn't. Because as a child, your parents and your guardian, regardless of what's going on, it is their responsibility to make sure that you as a child, it's safe. That you're safe physically, that you're safe emotionally, that you're safe spiritually. Children, adult, guardian, and parents, you should not forget this. It is your responsibility regardless of what you're dealing with, especially if you're a parent and you chose to be a parent, right? Because it can be, I'm having this going on. You chose to be a parent, your child needs you, so you do what you need to do to step up for them. So if you need to heal yourself so you can be more present for your children, so you don't keep recreating the same cycle of pain and trauma, then that's what you need to do. But if you're healing yourself, you tell yourself, you did not deserve this. And it's true. Like I said, you didn't. It was not your responsibility. You were defenseless and you couldn't defend yourself. Your inner child needs to hear that because it's just sitting there and it's in pain and it doesn't know what to do. Number 4, tell yourself, I'm sorry. Tell yourself, I'm sorry for the things you had to go through. Tell yourself, I'm sorry that I couldn't care for you, but it's okay, I'm here now. And we can do it together, right? Number 5, tell yourself, thank you. Thank your inner child for helping you through this time, for carrying you, for protecting you, even if these days it may protect you from feelings that you need to deal with. But your inner child carried you all the way here, and your inner child was the one there. Your inner child was the one there that was there for you as much as he or she could. So tell her, thank you, because you did the best you could with what you had, right? Number 6, tell yourself, I forgive you. Because sometimes we have regret and shame from the past, and it's not even our fault. And it could be a situation where maybe there was separation from parents, and somehow as a child you thought the reason your parents separated was because of you, or maybe something happened, something else. Maybe someone got in a car accident, maybe there was a more dramatic situation, and you think it's your fault. Because it wasn't your fault, but even if it was your fault, remember you were a child. So tell yourself, I forgive you. Number 7, tell yourself, you did your best. Because it is true, you did your best with what you had, with what you knew at that moment in time. Don't feel bad, don't feel like it wasn't enough. You did enough then, and you're still doing enough today. Don't beat yourself up. So today, we talked about why it's important to heal your inner child. It's important to heal your inner child because you cannot leave a deep wound just by itself without healing it. It's only going to get worse. You also want to heal your inner child so you can be able to resolve situations from a standpoint of an adult. If you have not learned to deal with those difficult emotions that are still inside of you, you're not going to be able to behave the way you're supposed to behave as an adult. So that means that even though you're an adult, when a situation like shame or anger comes and you have to deal with those difficult feelings, you behave as the child version of yourself. So then think about how a child handles the situation versus how an adult handles the situation. And then we talked about 7 things that you can tell your inner child right now. And those 7 things, I'm going to do a quick recap. 1, tell yourself, I love you. 2, I hear you. 3, you didn't deserve this. 4, I'm sorry. 5, I forgive you. 6, thank you. And 7, you did your best. If you like this video, if you're enjoying this video, please hit that like button and tell me what you like about it. Tell me which of the 7 things that I discussed today that you're going to start using. You can also hit the dislike button if you don't like this video and tell me why. I would love to hear your comments. So if you want to share more things underneath, if you have questions about the inner child, if you want to know more about this topic, if you want me to dive deeper into this topic, leave a comment below. As always, I appreciate your time. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.